This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is HomeTalkUSA with Michael King, where we will discuss topics pertaining to your home with industry-leading experts. Michael King is a licensed general contractor with more than 30 years of experience in home improvements and the author of Contracting with the King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton. Discover what's next in the home improvement industry and explore new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world as Michael King and Rita Crompton talk to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today. We invite you to visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Yahee! Welcome, America! That's right, Invent America. That's our theme for this hour. I want to welcome all of the Home Talk USA radio listeners, not to confuse you. The Invent America show is part of the Home Talk USA radio family, where we talk to inventors, entrepreneurs, talk about the technologies of the future. So we want to welcome all of you that's now tuning in. My co-host, she's with me right now, the Inventor Lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. Hey, Rita!
Hello, Michael. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. I got to let my audience know that next week you're going to have to ride this ship alone because I'm going to be taking a hiatus, and I know you're excited to take over next week, and looking forward to you with another great topic.
Well, you know, I love filling in for you because so many of your guests were inventors at one time, and now they're in the business world. And I find it fascinating to be able to visit with them and see what they've accomplished and, you know, where they currently are finding, you know, their challenges and being able to share their products and their successes with everybody, because then we walk right into an Invent America show that is dealing with inventors just trying to get their product out there. So it's a learning lesson for everybody.
Yeah, you're right. All the products and technologies at one time were just starting out, you know, and but now, due to the Invent America, we have a great blueprint for all future companies, right?
We do. And one of the things that, I talked to a gentleman last week who had 40 or 50 inventions out there, and he worked for a big aerospace company and had learned a lot and everything. And he hit on a target that I had just been talking about with another inventor that was, don't minimize the reach that your product may have. And so we're going to talk about that. That's going to be an exciting show where it's like, you know, all right, you're working in this little niche, but your technology may be applicable in other areas. And he goes, at one point, I was doing this, and somebody said, what about this thing out here? And now he is helping in space. And he goes, when I did my original patent, I would never have thought of that.
You're right.
So when we talk about the technologies of the future, that's exactly where we are, is Invent America on Home Talk USA.
Now, let me ask you this now. Let's talk about how prototyping happens in stages, though, because, again, we're just trying to lay out a good blueprint for our audience.
Well, inventors, they've got a picture in their head or a video in their head. And as much as I would like to say, I can read your mind, I can't read your mind, and the prototype guy cannot read your mind, and neither can the patent attorney, even though they think they can. So what we've learned is that, you know, there's stage stages of prototype. Your first one is your basic duct tape, cardboard, Legos, whatever. But then it's not, you don't go right into the manufacturer's prototype. So this topic, we're actually going to split into two versions. This one is going to be early stage, and then that second week in the new year, we're going to go to the more advanced stages of the prototyping because, again, nobody can read your mind, and so they've got to go in steps where you, the inventor, can say, oh, I wanted it to go like this. Oh, let me try it. No, it needs to be stronger. Oh, no, this part needs to move left to right instead of top to bottom. But you don't know till you try it. And in the old days, all right, they would have to go out and make a full-scale prototype and, for tens of thousands of dollars. And now we can do a rapid prototype, so it's not nearly expensive to test the different prototype versions. And I'll get people that say, I had a dozen. I've got a whole museum full of prototypes until we got it right.
And
so you never know.
And this is the stage where you don't want to rush. This is where it's got to come to a complete halt right here. Because you want to make sure you get it right. You want to make sure that you do some testing on it or whatever, because this is so crucial, because this can be the success or the failure of your product or your technologies. And one advice I can give, and I'm sure you're going to back me up here, please, whatever you do, if you're listening to me, if you never listen to anything I say, do not take any shortcuts. Do not take a shortcut. Don't.
Oh, my God.
And if somebody tells you, well, we can cut this back to make it affordable, this, look, don't take any shortcuts. Just put the technology that's in your head. Don't take any shortcuts, and let's see where it's going to lead you.
Yeah. And there are certainly places where an inventor can squeeze some money. This is not it.
No, this ain't it right here.
And if they pay attention to the stages and what we're going to talk about in the next couple of weeks, they will learn how not to. The most costly part, Michael, is making the mistake. It's because they tried to cut a stage out, and then they say, oh, yeah. Well, they find out, if the mold was made and it's a half-inch off, they got to do it all over again. They got to pay another $30,000 for the mold because they didn't take that next stage prototype and go to test it.
Yep, that's right. Don't cut the stages here, no matter what your investors tell you, no matter what the bank tells you, no matter what maybe the guy down the road tells you. Don't shortchange yourself. Just block it out of your mind. Take it from a thought into a piece of paper, because if you can think it and you can write it, I'm telling you, it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Well, and a lot of inventors don't realize, so you get your sexy, shiny prototype done that you can show, proof of concept, and it looks really great. But now when you go to manufacturing, that rapid prototype has got to be redone in what is referred to as a manufacturer's prototype.
Yep.
And that, again, goes through different stages of being able to get it into the marketplace. And sometimes they're not easy.
Now, especially when you decide to go with it, and then all of a sudden something technically could be wrong, and then you print out 10,000 of these these products out, and then all of a sudden you have a problem, and you done waste yourself $50,000 because it's wrong or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We had a lady years ago. She was doing a very cool new baby teether, and she's gone to market with it. She's sold tens of thousands of these. But in the beginning, and everybody has an in the beginning story, she had to go to market. She had to get a mold made, and it was a quarter of an inch off size to meet the industry standards, and she had to start over.
Well, Rita, there's
crazy stuff to pay attention. Yep.
Yeah, Rita, there's the music, so you know what time it is. What time it is, Rita?
Oh, we gotta go pay some bills, Michael.
That's what if anything I can teach you, that's it right there. We gotta go pay some bills. All right, this is HomeTalkUSA right here on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network. You're listening to the Invent America Show with my co-host, the Inventor Lady herself, Rita Crompton. We're going to be back with another topic, another guest. Stay tuned right here on the Genesis Communication Radio Network at GCNlive.com. I'll be right back with Rita.
Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Welcome back, everyone. That's right. As the famous words of Rita Crompton, the Inventor Lady, America invents. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. Rita, man, I'm ready to start this show. I know you got some great guests, some great topics. So who's our first guest?
Our first guest today is Shem Lachhman. He is an electrical engineer, product development, marketing, business development. He's done it all. And so when he and his partner, Joel Douglas, invented ZipX, they got it all teed up. They got things done, and now they're looking at licensing it so they can move on to their next product, because that's what they do, is product development, and then, hand it off to somebody else is going to run with it and make it grow up and be big. So today we're talking about, those prototypes. So Shem is going to tell us some of, share some of their experiences with how they got their product from their head to something tangible. So Shem, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, so tell our listeners, what then ZipX is, and then we'll go into some questions about, how you got it out of your head and into a prototype.
Of course. So ZipX is a safety product that secures wire nuts onto electrical wiring. It was designed as a measure of safety for home improvement DIYers who commonly wrap electrical tape onto wire nuts. As you can imagine, ZipX helps to create an electrically safe environment for homes and families across America, but is engineered in a form that is much easier to use and robust for long-term use. We like to say internally, ZipX is a Band-Aid for wire nuts.
Well, in my other life, before I did a lot of home repairs, I wouldn't have really known how important that is, but I do now. And because we were rewiring an older home, and holy cow, you get those little caps going every which direction, and then you're crawling up and down a ladder. So this certainly does make sense. But I would imagine then that, you went from, this sounds kind of cool, to getting actually then functioning prototypes. Share with our listeners what exactly you had to go through to get it now into something that could be used and tested. We are patent agents ourselves, and the first thing we did was we filed a patent to protect the idea. We filed a provisional, and then we started to mock up prototypes. The process really went from going through almost 20 iterations, surveying the market locally and, just through our own connections to see what they felt about each iteration. And that would feed into, what the next design would be. What we also did was take video recordings of ourselves installing ZipX onto wire nuts and also other people. And that also helped us to shape the product into a form that was easy to use and that can be installed within 3 steps. Well, that's great. To be able to do some, when it's an installation and be able to take some video of you installing it and then other people installing it, what a great education on, going through those different stages of prototypes. So when you were first working on it, what materials were you using as your test materials?
So what we did was we sourced electrical tape, just industrial lengths, and what we did was purchase a pre-cut. Pre-cuts are very popular for cutting fabric. I modeled everything myself in Fusion 360 AutoCAD, just because it's affordable and very user-friendly. And then as we went on, it became increasingly burdensome to create a prototype that could be mass-produced. So we started to attract additional talent that could potentially help us get it from, a pre-cut, cutting maybe 5 samples to cutting, more than 50 within 5 minutes.
Well, that's a really good point, Shem, because I get a lot of people that, kind of get into the next phase and, what they were working on, it could be done in short numbers, but when you start talking about major manufacturing, that can be a totally different issue that you, the inventor, need to pay attention to.
Yes, of course. And it's really one thing that Joel and I really believe. Joel is my business partner in ZipX. One thing we believe is that nothing can be done in a vacuum. When you start a business, you need to be able to understand what your limitations are in terms of what you know and access to the resources that can essentially help your business to grow.
All right. And you've had really good advice. Share with everyone what your website is. So before we, hear that music starting and we start, talking fast, tell them what your website is so people can go and look.
Yeah, so you can find ZipX at zipxtech.com. Right now we have a landing page, and we should be releasing the product within the first quarter of 2024. We are gearing up towards a production model and essentially starting to look for partners that would essentially sell it directly to do-it-yourself home improvement owners.
Well, that's excellent. And we're going to be posting your website along with some of your other social media links on our page and getting it out there so that people can, go into the website and see. But then we're going to do some video with you and Joel later on. Probably, I don't know if it'll be before Christmas, but certainly we'll get it matched up then right after Christmas. As far as, so they can go in and see, just like what you were doing with video, people want to see exactly what you're talking about because, again, they cannot read your mind and look into a crystal ball and say, oh, yeah, that's what they're talking about. It does work better when we can match it up with video and they can go and say, all right, I heard about a safety product out there that's going to help me with these wire nuts, and I want to see what they're really doing. So we're going to share that with all of our listeners and hopefully even contractors that get out there and, do this work. So, Jim, I'm just really pleased that you're going to the ASB Market Week with us, that we're going to get your product out there for you, and congratulations. This is a big deal.
Thank you. We're really excited about the opportunity ahead of us. We're really excited to work with you, and really thank you for having us on the radio show. It's going to be a fun time in the next few months.
I think so as well. So stay with us, everyone. We've got another inventor going to be talking about his prototype process. If you've got questions, certainly reach out, Rita at inventorlady.com. Go to our website, invent-america.com. You can reach out and grab us there. If you've got any questions about service providers, let us know because we are more than happy to give you some names of qualified service providers who've been on with us. So stick with us. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome back to Home Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us today. We are talking about different stages of prototypes so that the American inventor, when they're getting out there, has kind of a bit of an expectation on the process that they're going to be going through. And we certainly want to thank CAD design, Scott Tarsi, for his early stage work with Inventors on really pulling that idea out of your head and putting it into something three-dimensional. Now, a lot of our inventors have got different skill sets, so sometimes they can start and do a lot of it themselves. Our last guest, Shem, was certainly able to do that with his partner. Our guest right now is David Klapatch, comes from a family of inventors, so he certainly had some good training, and was the inventor of the waterless lanai cleaning in Naples, Florida, and then sold the business to his partner. So, David, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
So it's always a pleasure to have you on with us, and you've invented Lube Toss now. So tell our listeners, what is that exactly? It's not something you're playing with in the backyard with the kids.
No. It started out. I'm an avid biker, cyclist, and you should lubricate your chain often, especially if it gets wet, and depending on circumstances you're in, you should be lubricating your chain often. And anybody that's done that before knows how much of a pain that can be. So I said to myself, there must be a better way to do it. So I invented a product called Lube Toss, and that product is actually a low-cost lubrication device that you can lubricate a bicycle chain or a 100-foot metal cable, wire rope, in about 60 seconds or less, using off-the-shelf spray lubricants, which is right now nobody has anything like that. Most of the lubricant applicators on the market are very expensive, $1,000 or more, and very complicated devices. So mine is a very, very low-cost option to that. It's actually going to be meant to be included with the spray can. So if you were to buy a can of lubricant that's made for lubricating cables, this lubricant applicator would be included with that spray can, and it makes the job much easier. I mean, you could lubricate a 100-foot cable in a minute. So
wow.
And so we have different versions for bicycles and cables.
David, is your website up yet?
No, not yet. No, it's I'm in the process of doing it right now. Just finishing up I had some new videos, and I could actually explain that to you later on when you're talking about the prototypes. I had a website already, and due to the prototype changes, I had to postpone it for a little while.
All right. Well, when you've got it, send it to me, of course, and then we'll get it up on the Invent America website right away. But there goes our topic for today. So tell us about your prototype process.
Okay, well, I don't have enough fingers and toes to tell you how many variations I went through to get to the final product. My first product worked great. I thought it was a go just the way it was, and as I started using it, it showed signs of wear quicker than I wanted to. I had to change a little bit of the design, so my first prototype sort of got tossed aside. I had to make a stronger hinge for it, I'll say. And then the material that I actually made this out of was sourced from China. And unbeknownst to me, Chinese manufacturers of plastics and that type of material are different than the U.S. manufacturers. So I made my first set of prototypes out of this material that I had. It was working pretty good. I ran out of material, so I started ordering material from the USA, which I was trying to stay within here because of the shipping and things like that. And after I started making my new prototypes, I found out that it didn't meet the specifications that I needed. So it took me about 2 months of going through different manufacturers, trying to make prototypes with each one of their samples until I actually got the right company that gave me the right material to do that, to make that product, to make that prototype. That ended up my next prototype. I changed the size of it, the lubrication channel to fit the chain. I changed that size later on. I changed the amount of lubricant that it would hold because I found that in the prototyping, the testing, I found that you needed a little bit more lubricant than we had in the original prototype, and it just kept going on and on. I also designed one to fit inside the packaging. For instance, the bicycle lubrication companies have their lubricant in a box, and I redesigned the size of that to fit inside the box. And all of these things were done after I thought it was perfected. So it just kept changing.
And you talk about, you made some really, really good points that I want to, kind of bullet on them, is like, you can make one, and then when you realize it's not right, throw it in the trash and figure, oh my God, I can't do this. Or you can say, okay, how do I do this better? And you find the right material, and then you test it, and then you possibly, bullet point 3, realize that it doesn't meet the right specifications, so then you go after some more, and you keep working it, because, like Michael said when we opened the show, if you can imagine it, Mr. Inventor, you can have it built. It's just a matter of the tenacity that you have and belief in your product, that you get through the process and you get something and say, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one we're going to go with. And even then, as you go through the process, you will continue to make changes and improvements.
Yeah, that's what I found, definitely. You think you have the perfect product, and then you start getting feedback from people, and you find out, I can make it a little bit better this way, a little bit better that way. So you just keep changing it and tweaking it. Fortunately, the material for my product is very inexpensive, so I was able to make those changes without too much financial.
Yeah. So, in a line, what advice do you have for our listeners regarding prototypes?
My advice would be to start your first prototype with as cheap a material as you can, whatever you have around the house, to try to get it tested out as much as you can before you spend too much money on a finalized prototype, because the first one is not going to be the last one.
Very good, David. Thank you so much for being with us today. We are going to go pay some bills, everybody.
USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America that is very happily part of the Home Talk USA family. And we want to make sure that we thank our base home, which is Genesis Communication Network. Thank you, GCN. We are very, very grateful. Today we're talking about prototypes and the different stages of prototyping. Our guest today is Noah McNeely. He is the founder of Product QuickStart and also one of the sponsors for Invent America. Noah, thank you so much for being with us today and for being a sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So you have helped more than 200 inventors develop their ideas, get from, I have an idea, to that, in some cases, multi-million-dollar exit events, which is kudos, good for you. As they're going through the prototype process, a lot of our inventors, our earlier ones, they were able to do their own original kind of version of the duct tape and cardboard one. And then some inventors have got, a rapid prototype machine in the garage so they can take it, to step 2. Some of them are very adept with Legos and, can, kind of get that part done. But there's that one phase in there where sometimes they've gone to a prototype guy, somebody that's a little more specialized in the rapid prototype machines, and they need then the proof of concept prototype. you work more now in that third phase of the sexy prototype and manufacturer's prototype. So tell our listeners, what is Product QuickStart? If I didn't get all of it in there, let them know, and then we'll move on.
So Product QuickStart is the reason I require a lot of caffeine every day. It's actually my second company. I ran a company for about 15 years, and we did all sorts of product design, development, prototyping, manufacturing for mostly very big clients. And I always felt like the inventor entrepreneur got a little shortchanged in that model. So about 10 years ago, I reached what my wife calls my midlife crisis, and I left that company, and we're still friends. Long story, not going to go into that now, but that's how I started Product QuickStart, really to focus on the needs of smaller clients, people who haven't done it before, inventors, entrepreneurs, early-stage companies. And that's really where my passion is, and I do everything related to making stuff. So design, engineering, and, of course, like we're talking about today, prototypes and manufacturing beyond that.
Well, and so many inventors, they don't realize, they'll get one, what they feel is their proof of concept, but a lot of times it is just Legos. I've seen some good ones made out of pipe cleaners, but even those are not going to qualify as truly proof of concept prototypes. But then there's, proof of concept, there's the sexy prototype, there's the manufacturer's prototype, and so many inventors don't realize how many stages. And the more you are involved in that, certainly that sexy stage and the proof of concept, the manufacturer's prototype, you can avoid some really tragic mistakes money-wise if you know that when you go then to the manufacturing portion, even if it's a short run, that it's exactly what the inventor wants.
Right. Yes. So those pipe cleaner, Lego, Play-Doh prototypes are extremely valuable and useful. Everyone should try to do them. Some people aren't comfortable doing it. That's okay. I start at that stage with people, and some people just have an idea on paper, and I can help them with that crude step first. That's a level of proof of concept where you're proving, hey, do the physics even work? And that's great, but that's not going to prove, can it be manufactured? Can I actually produce a product and get it into the world? And that's where these other prototypes come in. And we do go through 3D printing and all sorts of sophisticated methods like machining and everything else to learn what we don't know. And in many cases, by that point, we're trying to learn, is this a product that has a path to manufacturing, and how would we manufacture that in a cost-effective way? So that's where we do work with factories, sometimes on those the prototype adjustments and development. And then the other thing you're trying to learn often is, is someone going to buy this or license this? Is it a cool enough product that I can show it off, not in Lego and pipe cleaner form, hey, this is a real product or could be a real product form if you want to buy it or partner with me to make it.
So, when an inventor is saying, okay, I think I'm going to call Noah and talk to him, what do you need from them?
So there's no universal answer on that other than I need understanding. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to talk about what you're trying to do, where you're trying to get to, and then I can help strategize how to get you there. It's different for everybody. So, short answer, I need to understand what you're trying to do.
And imagine this, you don't have a crystal ball, you can't read their mind. You've got to be able to talk to them and see what they're doing as much as possible. So thank you so much, Noah, for being with us today. We will talk again and have you on again. I've got some other topics for you. But we're going to wrap that up today. Thank you again. And everyone, if you've got questions for me or for Noah, please get in touch. We are happy to answer questions for you and point you in the right direction. So stick with us. We will be right back.
HomeTalkUSA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Thanks, everybody, for being with us today. And I want to thank, really, all of you consumers out there who listen and want to know what are the next cool things coming out. And all of you inventors who give me a call and say, really, I didn't expect you to answer the phone. Yep, that is my phone number that you see out there everywhere. Happy to answer questions, point you in the right direction, get you in touch with the right service provider. So join us again next weekend. We will be doing some more inventions and talking about some new issues that our inventors have and being able to answer your questions. Join us at the Inventor Roundtable meetings if you haven't already signed up, because that's where you can actually call in and ask your questions, and we've got people who can give you answers, and a lot of times you get to meet the inventors who've been on the show with us. So join us. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, as you get teed up for the holiday season. And I will be talking to you next Saturday. Take care, everybody.
Talk USA with Michael King is produced by Home Talk Media in association with King's Broadcasting Network and Genesis Communications Network. Broadcast and streamed live from the great state of Louisiana. Host and producer, the Cajun contractor, Michael King. Executive producer, Michael Mellinson. Affiliate and sponsor relations, Joe Spera. Comptroller, Sheila Gregoire. Assistant producer, Christian Bethencourt. Board operators provided by Genesis Communications Network. And I'm your announcer, Kevin McCarthy. Music includes King's Creole by Prolific Arts, Cajun Jam by StockMusic.com, and Zydeco City by Steve Rice. Home Talk USA with Michael King is sponsored by Bonai, pest solutions for your home, garden, and lawn. Decorators, take outdoor living beyond ordinary. Aztec Washer, innovative roofing solutions. Seal it right, seal it tight. Trimislab, replace rotten or missing wood with Trimislab expansion joint repair. Masonry Cosmetics, change the color of any porous masonry with proven masonry staining. Green Products Company, #1 in wood preservatives. Preserve, protect, and clean what you value, and most of all, make it last. Bond Products, manufacturers of InstaBind, the world's first do-it-yourself carpet binding solution. Deckrite, life is tough. Make your exterior flooring tougher. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Home Talk USA with Michael King. Until next time, visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com.
Yay!